Hey guys, welcome back to the Anime Collector. So today Julie and I are going out to see Kizumonogatari, and I actually did a poll on Twitter on whether or not we should see Your Name or Kizumonogatari Part 3 first, but everybody voted on Your Name, but today's like the last day any theater near us is actually showing Kizumonogatari, so we have to see it first. Now I know that this series is kind of supposed to be our first impressions, but we sort of have a little bit like of a leg up on this, I guess, because we've heard the audiobook for the light novel already, and I've already seen part 1 and 2. Julie hasn't seen it, but she's heard the audiobook, so you know she knows the story already. And I'm kind of driving a little bit crazy right now because we have to get all the way, you know, like 2 cities over in under an hour, and we haven't bought the tickets yet. I mean, I'm sure we'll have an easy time getting in there. I just hope that they have trailers, because otherwise we're probably going to miss the beginning of it. But
I'm sure they'll have trailers.
Yeah, let's hope. But yeah, so going into it, I don't know, from what I've seen, again, Julie hasn't seen the part 1 and 2, but from what I've seen, I enjoyed the audiobook more. There are definitely some great visuals, but I don't know. I think that certain aspects worked better in the anime, and I think that we're a little bit biased. I think because we heard the audiobook first, that you're just sort of predisposed to liking the one you saw first or heard first. You know.
Sometimes when you read a book, it's better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's because you're interpreting it your own way. But basically, if you haven't yet, you really should check out the audiobook, because Vertical Inc., which I believe is part of Kodansha, released the audiobook, or they released the light novel and the audiobook. And rather than just do the normal thing, they actually hire professional voice actors to play the characters that are speaking in the books, and they've got like music and stuff and sound effects that plays in it as well, so it almost is like listening to anime playing in the next room. Yeah, it's really actually quite immersive and very enjoyable. Anyway, I've got to speed like a demon over here in order to get where we're going without missing anything from the movie, so I'll cut back in once we get there. It's this one. You can see the sign that looks like a movie theater front right here. It's this building.
Your destination is on the right.
That's it.
Okay, so we gotta find a place to park.
Oh man. Okay, we're going. Public parking right there.
Sweet. Whoops.
Every stinking time.
Alright, well, over here. Okay, so forgive the car noise. It's way too hot in Arizona to not have the AC on right now. Yeah. What did you think?
It was interesting.
It was very artsy. So I guess, first of all, maybe we should give a little bit of backstory about what the story is actually about. Again, there's spoilers here. And I really do recommend that you get that audiobook, because it is it's a very different, especially if you've never read a light novel or anything before, it's a very different experience, especially the way that they actually handled it. But basically the story is that a character named Araragi comes across a vampire who has had her limbs taken from her, and she's basically in a state where she's too weak to do anything, and she's basically going to die. And he ends up volunteering himself as her like last meal, which of course gives her the sustenance necessary to survive. It turns him into like a minion, as they called it in the movie, you know, like a vampire servant, and he basically goes on a quest for her to get her limbs back. And every time he brings back her limbs, she literally eats the limbs and gains more and more of her power back, right?
It was like a fever dream.
Yeah, it was. It was a fever dream. I just want to say, it actually is a pretty cool movie to see in the theaters, but there's like a particular scene that we were fortunate. We were cringing really hard. We were really cringing, but luckily we were the only two people in the theater. But other than that scene, it was pretty cool. They had some really goofy animation, and it was really interesting to see how many ways they could come up with goofy things to do. Like at the end of the story, Araragi discovers that another character named Oshino had actually stolen the vampire's heart. The vampire, we're just going to call her Kiss Shot. That's what she has, a really long name, but we're just going to call her Kiss Shot because it's easier. But basically, she had her heart stolen, literally her actual heart, not the figure of speech, but her actual heart was ripped out. He pulls it out of his Hawaiian shirt pocket, and you're like, how did that fit in there? You know, that was one of the first thoughts we had when that was like the opening scene. We missed like the first 30 seconds of the movie because of this parking situation here. We stood at this machine, we had to prepay, and we stood there like idiots for like 5 minutes trying to figure out how to do it. But
do we pay now?
Yeah.
Or should we?
And then it just dawned on me, like, maybe I should push the button so that the instructions will pop up on screen. But anyway, so we got in there, and Julie had to pee beforehand, and I could hear the Aniplex little splash screen starting, so I knew we were missing the literally 20 seconds probably is what we missed. But
excuse me for being pregnant.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. But yeah, since we had heard the audiobook, it wasn't that big of a deal. So anyway, once Araragi gets the limbs back from the people who had taken them, the vampire hunters who had taken them, Oshino reveals to him that he had taken her heart, and that's actually why she was weak enough for these vampire hunters to even hunt her down and take her limbs in the first place. So he gives Araragi back the heart, and Araragi gives the heart back to Kiss Shot, and then everything just goes real downhill.
Vomiting.
Yeah, he walks in on her eating one of the vampire hunters named Guillotine Cutter. He basically, it's that moment in Monster when the doctor realizes that he had saved a kid who grew up to be this horrific serial killer, or he realizes that every human that she eats from now on is because of him, because he saved her. So he has to kill her, and it turns out to be the only way that he can actually become human again. And anyway, the movie was interesting, and the thing about it is that the light novel is like 9.5 hours long. I mean, it's really long compared to stringing the movies together. They cut a lot of details from the light novel, but they did some very interesting things. Like, I would say that the movie's worth seeing regardless of the story, just for how they edited things and the sort of avant-garde nature of what they chose to do. So I don't know, I would recommend it. What do you think? Would you rather watch it? Would you have rather watched it at home?
I would have rather watched it at home just because of that
one scene.
Really awkward.
It gets
scene.
really lewd. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And it's awkward. And again, we were the only people in the theater, but not being in your own house.
We were the only people in the theater until you get up at the end and you realize somebody's sitting in the box.
Yeah, because he's the projectionist. Yeah.
But he's like watching you watch something really bad.
He's probably not even really paying attention the whole time. He probably only got up at the end because he needed to take the reel off, you know?
Maybe, but I still kind of felt like my mom was watching something bad.
It's like when you watch anime and it's like nothing lewd happens until somebody walks in the room, you know? And it's like, it's one of those things where I wouldn't want to have to explain things to somebody walking in. It was really awkward. Bottom line, I definitely would recommend you see it. Probably not going to be able to see it in theaters no matter what I say, just because it's probably not gonna. It was hard to get this one. Like I said, we looked it up, and there's no showings for it tomorrow near us, and I don't know. I feel like
it's Hollywood here, and then Texas.
And, yeah,
those are the three closest.
So when I actually I downloaded a bunch of, because again I haven't been to the movies in forever. I downloaded a bunch of apps to check out the showtimes. I got the Showtimes app. I got all these different apps, and none of them would let me search the dang movie. You know, I couldn't believe it. It was so annoying. Except for Movie Phone, and the ones that would let me search it would tell me, hey, it's not playing within 15 miles of your current location. You know, but Movie Phone actually found the 3 closest theaters, and they were this one, Alamo Drafthouse in Austin, and
hold on, people think we're leaving.
And the one in Hollywood. So anyway, that's it for now, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's so much, like, there's so much activity happening all around us right now in this little parking lot.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I think people want us to leave, but I think we're actually gonna go and
we're gonna go have a date.
We're gonna go get dinner. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and we're gonna try to see Your Name tomorrow. That had a lot more showing, so we felt like we had to definitely get Kizumonogatari out of the way today, because again, this is the last day it was showing around us. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time. Pokemon. What spawned?
A Pidgey.
Okay.